Hello and welcome to the business interview. I'm Markus Karlsson. Cricket and cement don't seem to have a lot in common, but in this show we're speaking to the head of the French company that's hired a cricket superstar to boost cement sales in India. It's one of many attempts by French firm Lafarge to attract higher sales in emerging markets. Today I'm sitting down with Bruno Lafont, chairman and chief executive of Lafarge, the world's largest cement maker. Welcome to France 24 and welcome to the program.
Nice to meet you.
Now, obviously, emerging markets, that is where the growth is for you.
Of course, because it's where demography is, where urbanization is, and where also economic growth is happening. And those markets are growing when the most developed countries are not building today, and they are building today much less than before the crisis. And growth is happening like always locally because the climates are different, because construction modes are different, because cultures are different, because business is not done the same. And we are operating in 65 different countries, and every country is a local business for us. And we try to develop the best approach to the market, leveraging, our knowledge on producing cement everywhere we can, and also leveraging our innovation wherever we can to build more sustainable constructions and also more affordable construction.
Now, you often say that the construction sector and the cement sector, that they tell the story of where the global economy is. And just to underline, once again, you saw sales in the first quarter drop by 11% in Western Europe, whereas overall you saw a 5% increase in global sales. So it's really in the emerging markets where all of those increases
emerging
are.
Markets grew 10%, yes. And that is...
What countries in particular?
All countries, And what's important is to look at the average, because one quarter can be better because of the weather, but most interesting is the trend, and the trend is between 5 and 10% for almost all emerging countries. And emerging countries can be Nigeria, can be Uganda, can be Brazil, can be Philippines, can be India, Bangladesh, China, and of course there are ups and downs, there are cycles everywhere, but again, cement answers really essential needs for humanity. Mm-hmm. After you are no more, needing to feed yourself, you need to have a roof. And the first product you need is cement. And cement, you cannot transport it. You need to build it. It means in the emerging market economy, the cement industry is very often the first industry in the country. And we are operating in 65 countries with relatively heavy industrial equipment.
As I said in the beginning of this program, you hired the cricket superstar Mahendra Dhoni in India in order to boost sales. He's your brand ambassador. Is that a good investment? Is that the kind of things that you need to do to attract customers in emerging markets?
In developed countries, most of cement is sold in bulk, in big trucks. In emerging markets, cement is sold in bag by unit to small contractors or to individuals. And in India, more than 95% of the cement market is in bag. That means it's a consumption product. It's a mass consumption product. So you need to build a brand awareness, to have to represent something and some values with your brand, and to associate that with local values and with local components. And so the cricket that you take as an example is a good idea to develop a friendship around Lafarge and around also other things like the technicalities of our products, the easy use of our products, and the fact that people will be able to live, in more sustainable homes after using Lafarge.
Now, as I said before, global sales may have been up for you in the first quarter, but you still posted a net loss of 44 million euros. Why is that?
You know, the first quarter is always a small quarter because the weather, because it's winter, you know, in the northern hemisphere, and we are usually seasonality is playing a role, and we are usually making losses in the first quarter, mainly in North America. So, and depending on the weather, you have a small minus or a small plus in the bottom line. But what is important for the quarter is that we saw sales up, operating profits up, so sales up 5%, operating up 28%, and margins up also. So which is positive, and which is the result not of a wonderful economy overall, because the developed countries did not so well, but because our cost reduction program, because our price actions, because everything we do, you know, to really face the present economy is delivering.
Speaking of cost reduction, you have a mountain of debt, more than 12 billion euros. How quickly are you going to be able to eat into those debts?
So this mountain was much bigger 3 years ago. So we reduced it already by 5 billion. So there is still more to do, but I think we are on the right way, on the right track. What we try to do this year is to use most of our cash flow to reduce debt. So we have reduced our capex, and we are increasing cash flows through cost reduction, through accelerated cost reduction. And we'll continue to divest less strategic assets in order to complement this debt reduction and to come as soon as possible. Lafarge is a very strong cash flow generating company, but we can do even better. And this crisis is helping us, you know, to first transform the group, this transformation from, you know, developed countries to more global and very much focused on emerging countries, you know, from 30% to 60% of our sales, and also to be everywhere as cost effective as we can. So with a cost reduction program of 500 million euros, out of which we will deliver 400 million at least this year.
Now, energy is an important factor in cement production.
Yes.
What do you think is going to happen with energy prices and oil prices in the next 6 months to a year?
So energy has started to increase again at the end of 2010. It had a strong impact on our costs in 2011, and will have still a significant impact in 2012, because, you know, after oil, there is an impact on coal, and there is an international coal, and then you have local coals, and all type of energies, you know, are
There's
following
a chain
slowly.
reaction trickling down.
A chain reaction. So, and we have to adapt to that. So what do? We are first buying better. Second, we are working on our consumptions. Third, we are trying to be as flexible as possible in the use of different fuels. So it means ready to use the cheapest fuel as possible, and doing that with the best environmentally friendly equipments and methods, and trying to use more and more so-called alternative fuels, like like waste, but it could be biomass, it could be rice husks, it could be some industrial waste.
But seeing that, do you expect energy prices, as I say, to rise for you? Energy costs
Yes,
to rise?
energy costs will continue to rise. We are planning an 8% rise in energy costs for us this year.
I want to talk a little bit about growth here in the Eurozone towards the end. Growth, it's a catchphrase these days. We're hearing it from politicians here in France, from politicians in Germany, Italy, Spain, you name it, within the Eurozone. How are you looking for growth? What do you think is needed in order to achieve that growth within the Eurozone as a corporate leader?
You know, I think growth will be the result of competitiveness, and competitiveness is the result of being the most cost-effective and the most innovative. And that everywhere you can imagine to do. You know, it's true for governments, it's true for companies, it's true. And to be also the most attractive, because the cost of money is important, and to attract money, to invest in profitable projects.
But how does the Eurozone get that attractiveness at this stage? I mean, that's a question that we're all asking ourselves.
First, the efforts of governments to work on their deficits. Second, the structural reforms of some countries, you know, to work on improving the way they operate. Then the new avenues, and many companies are trying to set on innovation, on ways to do their business. So I think we are on the right direction. But it's true that the way is sometimes painful, and at the most painful time of the journey, you might be desperate. So that's the reason why we need to create motivation, to create confidence, to create more probably motivation around some ambitions. And that's where the idea of making profitable investments using, savings which are there and which are, not coming from additional debt or, but money which can be employed to create more value and to create more employment in Europe is important. I was impressed by this, the importance which was given during the French electoral campaign, on industry, on employment and industry, on local industry, and I was also, and I think that construction, to give you another example, is an area where you can, in Europe, make very profitable investments if you look at energy savings potential and all the type of...
So when you look around you at the political landscape in Europe and in the Eurozone, are you confident then that there is change on the cards?
I think the awareness is the main factor for change, and the awareness has risen. So that's a very positive thing. And when you look at the topics of every electoral campaign, you see that awareness is rising. And then decision-making is important. And then the way we make decisions and the way we will use the money, public or private, will be very important. But when awareness is there and when confidence is more present, I think the conditions will be met for Europe to restart.
Okay, that's a pretty upbeat message. Thanks very much indeed, Bruno Lafont, the Chief Executive of Lafarge, the French cement company. You're watching France 24. Thanks very much indeed for being with us, and do stay with us because we have more news coming your way soon.